Hello everyone, and today we're back with another video, and today we're going to be focusing on choosing relevant quotations when writing a P.E.E. paragraph. So you'll need to know this for your exams, so if that's what you're looking for, then stay tuned. Whilst you're here, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any new content. Remember, there's new content every single week, so you really don't want to miss out on the new lessons that I've got planned for you. So without further ado, let's get started. So today's learning outcome is to understand what quotes are relevant to the question and how to choose successful quotations that will get you the marks that you need. So before we dive in, we need to know exactly what a quotation is. So what is a quotation? The definition of a quotation is words or phrases that are taken from someone else or from literary work. An example of a quotation is when you take a passage from Shakespeare and repeat it as written without changing any of the words. So here's some examples that I've taken from Roald Dahl's The Twits. Mr. Twit was one of these very hairy-faced men. Have you ever seen a woman with an uglier face than that? I doubt it. Take a look at her. And he hadn't washed it for years. He's talking about his beard. So our focus today is The Twits by Roald Dahl. So for some of you that haven't read it before, the Twits are an ugly and dirty couple who are hated by the muggle-wump monkeys that they keep. Mr. Twit is a foul and smelly man with bits of sardine and cornflakes in his beard. And Mrs. Twit is a horrible old woman with a glass eye. So they both keep the monkeys, which they have had caged since they were working in the circus, and made them do upside down tricks. So now the monkeys are seeking revenge. So that's just a quick summary of what it's about. And I've chosen to focus on the Twits because it's easy to understand and it's interesting. So today's question is, how is language used to show that Mr. Twit is unkempt? So to find quotes, we need to understand what the question means. So first, let's start with language. Language could be referring to language devices, word classes, anything to do with words. And if you need a little bit of help with language devices, check out this video here that I did on language devices. Now we need to focus on the word unkempt. The adjective unkempt means having an untidy or disheveled appearance. So what we're doing is we're basically looking for words and phrases that show that Mr. Twit is untidy. So here's our extract. Mr. Twit was one of those very hairy-faced men. The whole of his face, except for his forehead, his eyes and his nose, was covered with thick hair. The stuff even sprouted out in revolting tufts out of his nostrils and his ear holes. Mr. Twit felt that the hairiness made him look terrifically wise and grand. But in truth, he was neither of these things. Mr. Twit was a twit. He was born a twit. And now at the age of 60, he was an even bigger twit than ever. The hair on Mr. Twit's face didn't grow smooth and matted as it does on most hairy-faced men. It grew in spikes that stuck out straight like the bristles of a hairbrush. So I've got a task for you guys to do now. From the extract, which I'm going to put on the screen for you guys to see, choose some words or phrases that show that Mr. Twit is untidy. And I want you to pause this, and once you've finished, take it off pause, and then I'll show you my answers. Okay, so I've chosen 3 quotes. I've chosen hairy-faced, sprouting in revolting tufts out of his nostrils and ear holes, and the third, grew in spikes that stuck out straight like the bristles of a nail brush. Now I'm going to explain to you why I've chosen these 3 quotes. So the first one, hairy-faced, he doesn't shave or keep his beard or face in a tidy manner. Thus, it's showing he's untidy, and that answers the question. Number 2, sprouted in revolting tufts out of his nostrils and ear holes. He had hair coming out of his nostrils and ears. Obviously shows that he's untidy. And quote number 3, grew in spikes that stuck out straight like the bristles of a nail brush. So the hair that was growing on his face was very hard, and it was compared to a brush. So guys, remember, quotations have to be relevant to the question. The quotations I chose today have all answered the question, even without us having to write our explanation and our point, etc. when we're writing a P.E.E. paragraph. If your quotation isn't relevant to the question, then your explanation will not make sense and you would have started off your paragraph incorrectly, thus losing marks. Now you should be able to choose relevant quotations depending on what text you have, and I'll do another video using a slightly harder extract to help you guys out. I hope this was helpful. Please don't hesitate to contact me on social media for help or if you have any questions. Take care for now. Bye.